welcome to Above Replacement Radio. I am your host, Chris Gianta. You know what Christy Mathewson wasn't worried about? SIERA. When you're thinking about Pedro Ciriaco, I mean, the only one that can compete is maybe Hannes Wagner's 1908 season. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran.
Like, if we just clip together every time we've talked about him on other people's profiles, we've done a Mickey Cochran episode.
I can't get past Rabbit Marinville. It's not necessarily Hall of Fame. It's not necessarily above average, but we can guarantee you we are better than just the standard replacement level college sophomore.
And welcome to Above Replacement Radio. We're talking baseball kind of whenever. I am your host, Chris Gianta. Over there to my actual left is Daniel Curran. How you doing, Daniel?
Chris, I'm doing pretty well today. We got a very special episode of ARR prepared for you guys today. We're very excited. We have a special guest, Chris Rose from Jomboy Media, formerly of MLB Network, is joining us today.
Yeah, I mean, as of the recording, we have already done it. So we can tell you it was actually a very good interview.
It was. We had a lot of fun with it. He answered some very thought-provoking questions, gave some good answers, and it was just very cool. I mean, he's kind of just the same guy that you see on MLB Network and on Jomboy.
Yeah, I mean, really the nicest person. I mean, that's why he's doing something like this in terms of, being a guest gave us a great 30 minutes. And I think what people will find pretty interesting from him was, his perspective on Major League Baseball and how they conduct media and how sometimes they're a little late to the game on things, like with podcasting. So I think that, definitely looking forward to. And one shout out we need to make is Chris Cotillo of MassLive.com, beat reporter for the Red Sox. He hosts these Zoom workshops for aspiring sports writers or aspiring sports media people. Daniel and I both did it in August, and Chris Rose spoke at that, and we loved that, and we were like, we need to get Chris Rose on the podcast. And Daniel asked Cotillo for Chris Rose's contact, and Chris Cotillo cooperated. So without him, none of this would have been possible. And we thank him very much for that. And we're probably going to have him on the podcast at some point. Just don't know when, but it will be happening probably in the near future. So shout out to Chris Cotillo for this one. And I guess since we've prefaced it, we'll just
get right into it, right?
Just get right into
Why
that
not?
interview. So here is our interview with Chris Rose. All right, and we are joined by someone who obviously, I mean, if you're clicking on this, you're probably clicking for this man in particular and not us. So, he probably needs no introduction, but you may know him from his days on The Best Damn Sports Show, Intentional Talk, and now with his new company, Jomboy Media, on the Chris Rose rotation and Baseball Today with Trevor Plouffe. Chris Rose, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you?
I'm doing well.
By the way, don't sell yourselves short. They're clicking on it for you. I mean, you at least probably have some family and friends that are doing it.
I would hope so. Yeah, definitely some professors, some family friends. Yeah, we got a couple.
Okay, good. Well, greetings and welcome to all the family members, the friends, and the professors as well.
Yeah, shout out to all of them. And our professors, Marty, Kyle, Amy, maybe Fadi is listening too.
Yeah.
But
very weird to hear an introduction with you that's not accompanied by a pinball machine or by a circus, I will say.
Yeah, no, those were always good things. We tried to freshen things up occasionally with intentional talk. I think I probably liked the pinball intro the most. The last one we did, kind of the spy feeling, was fun. That was a good fun shoot we had. The circus, people were like, wow, did you really get near a lion? Like, no. It was green screened in. It was pretty obvious. I play it safe. But those are always fun. Those are always fun little shoots we get to do in this biz.
And like they were like, did you like have a stunt double or something? Like, were
Yeah,
you worried
right.
the lion was gonna eat you? Like,
No, I was always good. The only time I ever thought I would need a stunt double was the first season I did BattleBots, which for people that aren't familiar with that show, have you guys seen it?
I've
BattleBots.
heard a few things. I haven't taken too deep of a look into it, but
All right, well,
you
we're gonna
wanna
have to
explain?
end the interview right now. If you don't watch BattleBots, then I can't talk to you.
Thank you,
Basically,
Chris Rose.
it's a pair of 250-pound robots fighting inside of a bulletproof glass cube.
Oh my God.
And yeah, these things have blades that are spinning at 250 miles an hour. As I mentioned, each robot's 250 pounds. So there's a lot of force, a lot of interesting scientific stuff that I don't exactly understand going on. But all I know is that bulletproof glass cube is very, very important and very safe. But I'm calling the fights with my man Kenny Florian, a former UFC fighter. And the only thing that's separating ourselves from these blades of a tip speed of 250 miles an hour is a bulletproof glass cube that's 1.25 inches thick. And the first time I was there, I was like, are you guys sure this is really safe? They're like, listen, I could stand on the other side of this thing with an M16, shoot it at you, and you'd be okay. I was like, no, I'm going to have my body double take care of that one. Let's see if it really works.
I'll take your
tapping
word
out
on
on
that
that.
one.
Yeah. I can't imagine something like that. And the last thing with the intentional talk intro, which one was your favorite song to come into?
Probably How You Like Me Now. I think that one was the one because I forget which business used it in an advertising campaign. So every time I heard it and it was playing during like seemingly every baseball game, I was like, oh my God, am I late for my show? What's going on here?
I heard
So
that
I probably
song
like that. Why? Which one did you guys like best?
I mean, I feel like it's always got to be the ones we grow up with. Chris and I, we grew up with the pinball machine. We grew up with How You Like Me Now. It has to be that one. Like that's.
Yeah.
I heard that song recently, and like my mind automatically just goes to intentional talk.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It takes us back to a better, happier time.
Yeah,
if there's such a thing.
It takes me back to like when it was 5 p.m. on a weekday. I was procrastinating my homework. Like I was like, I'll sit down here for an hour and listen to this,
Yeah.
and then I'll procrastinate some more.
I've heard that a lot
Yeah.
from kids your age.
Mhm.
So I apologize to all the professors who couldn't get to grading the homework because kids were delinquent because of our show.
It's more like the times I was falling asleep in class because I stayed up late doing homework because
Got
I
it.
started
Okay.
it late. Yeah.
Heard a few of those too.
Yep.
Yeah, you can join a growing list there. But I'm happy to provide a little bit of entertainment. That's what we tried to do over 10 years.
Yeah, it was truly something we all look forward to for those weekdays. And unfortunately, obviously it had to come to an end. But what was the process of going to Jomboy Media, an entirely different media setup, not on TV, going into more of the internet realm? What was kind of the process after we knew MLB Network was no longer going to be happening?
Well, I knew I wanted to stay in baseball, and there aren't too many avenues to go. I mean, ESPN has made cuts over the years. Fox is minimizing its baseball coverage. It seems like every year as well. And, a place like Jomboy, I'd known Jimmy and Jake for a few years. I was a big believer in their product. I'm a believer in who they are and what they represent. And even more so now that since I've been with them for the last 7 months or so. It's not that streaming is the future of where we're going. It's the present. I mean, this is how not only young people, but people my age are consuming their media. They want to be able to walk around and have it on demand. And they want to be able to have it, the truth be told. And they want to be able to have no corporate strings attached. That's a real, authenticity is really important in our world of where you're getting your entertainment and where you're getting your opinions from. And I think it's really important to not have an agenda and to just speak freely. It has been very, very liberating. I mean, I loved my decade at MLB Network. There's no question about it. I miss a lot of the people there because they're family and friends now. But what I've been able to gain at a place like Jomboy, and my relationship is growing and changing with these guys every day, is the fact that I could tell the truth. You know, there were a handful of times while at MLB Network, I was told we can't do that story. You know, it's going to piss off an owner. It's going to, you know, and for the most part, I will say this. Throughout most of my tenure there, our bosses took a lot of bullets for us. Like they would get calls from certain teams. Hey, why are you beating up on our team? Why are you saying that? And it wasn't always our show, but other shows on the network. And they would say, hey, listen, these are their guys' opinion. And sometimes, you know, things aren't, not every team, you don't have all 30 teams go 81-81. There are great teams and there are shitty teams. And so what are we supposed to be like? Oh, hey, congratulations on winning 58 games. Like that was awesome. You guys tried really hard. No, this is Major League Baseball. This is big boy sports and big time business. And if you're not doing things the right way, you're going to get called out occasionally. Some teams got real sensitive about that.
Do you feel like in some way some of your shows were almost held back by the fact that you couldn't say stuff like that? Like, do you think, you know, obviously everyone loved that tea. Like, do you think there could have been more there if rules like that didn't exist?
Well, I mean, I will say this. There's a few rules I live by in this business. I try to. I don't make things personal. Very rarely have I ever gone after a player or an executive and made it personal. I just don't believe in it. I think that if people make mistakes, they make mistakes. There's been a handful of times I thought the Houston Astros totally botched the issues in the 2019 World Series. I thought they were wrong. I thought they should have stood up and said we screwed up with the way we handled things in our clubhouse in front of several female media members. They let AJ Hinch, they let him hang out to dry on that. I thought it was horrible. I thought the Astros, again, after the cheating scandal, did not handle things the right way. I thought unfortunately, a lot of this has to do with the Astros, but I thought them trading for Roberto Osuna when he was serving a 75-game suspension, I believe it was, for his wrongdoing in a domestic violence issue. Them still trading for him while he was on there because they knew it was an easy get from the Toronto Blue Jays. I thought that was a joke. Those are the only times I can remember where I really felt like it sounded personal because I thought that they made some bad decisions. With all that being said, Intentional Talk was a light, player-friendly show where people could feel comfortable coming on the program. And that's what I'm never going to apologize for that. People are like, well, you're not asking hard-hitting questions. Well, no shit, right? You can go to other places for that. You can go watch Brian Gumbel and Real Sports. They do an amazing job. Amazing. I watch it all the time. Outside the Lines on ESPN, hard-hitting sports journalism. There's a time and place for that. That's not what we wanted to be about. We wanted to be able to show that there was another side to baseball players. And I felt like we've done that better. We did that better than anybody in the history of baseball. Our show for 10 years did it better than anyone. And now it's opened it up for hopefully podcasts like the Chris Rosa Rotation to continue to show that baseball players are more than just guys that talk about a 3-2 slider.
Yeah. Would you say with Jomboy Media and your, freedom to say what you want, you're really maxing out and doing everything you want to do with baseball media?
Yeah, I think we're getting there. I think the hard thing is sometimes getting teams to understand the importance of giving us player access. They're used to an old school mentality, right? And this is where, in my opinion, baseball has screwed up over the years. They have bought into the fact that it is strictly a regional sport. So they are going to treat their columnists, their local columnists, their local TV people, their local radio people much differently than they normally treat national media and growing streaming companies. like ourselves. I think that we are breaking down more and more walls as we speak each and every day. People understand the importance of a place like Jomboy Media in growing the game, because that's what we want to do. We're not here to take shots at guys. Very rarely will you hear that on any of our podcasts. You won't hear it very often in Jimmy's breakdowns. We just want to show the fun side of it. So, as more and more, and I think more and more teams are kind of understanding that.
Yeah, absolutely. Daniel, do you want to ask something?
Yeah, so I mean, you've talked about the rotation a lot, and just getting into just the fun part of the league. If you could handpick any active player to add to the Chris Rose rotation, you have Tyler Glasnow, Lucas Giolito, Miguel Rojas, several other names. If you could add one name of your choosing, who would you pick?
Well, I don't want to give it out yet, because maybe we haven't decided what we're going to do with the rotation next year.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say this, that there's been a ton of great interviews this year. So I'd rather focus on that in terms of, Joey Votto, I've always loved interviewing him, and he gave me 40 solid minutes on a game day. We had a great discussion on everything. I mean, his home run streak, whether or not he felt like he could get it back after a couple of years with which he really struggled, how he got out of, his baseball depression, if you will, how he kind of turned the corner with that. His teammate Nick Castellanos was great because he's got no filter. He will say anything at any time. Stephen Vogt has always been one of my favorite interviews, always. And he was very honest and open. And that's the thing. A lot of these guys, I'd love to dive into their journey because everything's so different. Not everybody grows up being Bryce Harper or Mike Trout, where you're born into superstardom, where people know they're going to make it. So many of these stories, even the latest one with Salvador Perez, talks about how he left home for the first time at age 16, got on a plane and cried his eyes out because he didn't know what he was doing. He begged his mom, please, I want to go home. Now, 13 years later or whatever it is, he has the single season home run record for a catcher. It's pretty damn good. And all we see is that. All we see is Salvador Perez, 2015 World Series MVP. We don't know his story about leaving Venezuela, where his mom used to bake cakes for a living so that they could have this little place to live. And now he might be arguably the second most popular Kansas City Royal ever. I'm really fascinated by the journeys, and hopefully that's what kind of separates the Rose rotation from elsewhere.
Yeah, those stories out of Venezuela and the Dominican Republic, where those international signings where you're getting signed at 16 and leaving home are just the craziest things.
Yep, they are.
So with the Chris Rose rotation, would you consider retired players, or would that kind of go against kind of the story you're trying to purvey?
Well, I think it's a good question. And I don't think you have to fit it into you don't have to peg it a certain way. I mean, the nice thing is that it's active players. So we're checking in on their journey about every 2.5 to 3 weeks throughout the year. And then at the end of the season, we'll evaluate what did we do well? Where do we need to get better as a show? How can I help Jomboy Media improve? Because I know it's a lot for people to sit through 45 minutes to an hour of talk. It's not always easy. You might not have time. You might not have the interest. Maybe you want a 20-minute conversation. We have to figure out what works best. But I do think that there's so many interesting people, and I think that the sport hasn't done a good enough job introducing us to the people inside the uniforms, and that's where hopefully we come in handy.
How do you think this all looks, say, 5 years from now? Because if we look 5 years in the past, Jomboy Media was not a thing. A lot of the big, these big independent baseball platforms didn't really exist. It's more people building their own products. How do you think we look at this another 5 years from now?
It's a great question. If I could get ahead of it, I'd be a really rich guy. Right. If you had told me 5 years ago I would have my own podcast on Jomboy Media, I would have been like, nah, don't think so. Now, I'll tell you this. I started a podcast with Kevin 3 years ago, 4 years ago. MLB wanted no part of it. No part of it. They were like, fine, go do your thing. We're not going to help you get guests. We're not going to promote it. I begged them to put it on MLB.com. They said no. They just didn't want it. They were like, it's your thing. If you want to do it, you can go do it. And which I thought was too bad, because I thought you continue the intentional talk brand and you continue to grow it, but they didn't see it that way. And now they're trying to throw a bunch of podcasts at the wall and hoping they fit and they stick, when they could have, in my opinion, built something when it needed to be built 3 or 4 years ago. Now they're playing catch up, and I wish them luck. I hope it works out for them. I don't really know the people that are doing those podcasts, but I know why Jomboy Media's got a bunch of the most popular ones out there, because people enjoy it. They want to laugh. They want to have fun. I think they kind of trust where we're coming from, and they know we're not corporate.
Wow, shocking that MLB is a little late to the game there on the podcast.
Yeah, and listen, I've got a lot of really good friends still there, and I'm not here to beat on them, but at the same time, it is a slow changing sport, and I know it's not easy to cut through a lot of red tape. I get that, man. It's just like sometimes you got to go. You just have to change things.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to ask that one or do
Yeah. I mean, I just wanted to say, like, I mean, we've been saying for years, like, it's been a national topic about MLB having a marketing problem. And it's almost like, it almost just feels like it's tired at this point because we've been talking about it for so long. But you bring up stuff like that, and it's like we can't not talk about it. Like, we're, one of the hit shows on MLB Network, and they're refusing to expand beyond it is just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's, as I said when I left, I've been in big business for decades, so I understand it. Everybody's got a budget and everybody's got a boss they have to report to, and that's okay. Is it the way I would have done it? No. But it's not, until it's called the Chris Rose Network, I don't have a say in it. So that's just kind of the way it is. And listen, that's the way a lot of networks work. They just do. They don't always do things, in my opinion, the right way. I don't think that I think some executives are really afraid to take certain leaps because they're not strong enough. And that's my opinion on it. I think there's a way to lead people. And we need more leaders that are willing to take chances instead of say, well, that's just not the way we've always done it. Like, that's not. I tell my 2 kids who are almost 21 and 16, I was like, that is never an acceptable response. Well, it's not the way we've done it. That is no. Now, you might not hear at the end of the day what you want to hear, but there's no way I'm going down without a fight if I hear that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. So we talk about things evolving, things on the business side, but also with statistically we've kind of advanced, and that's one of the themes of our show is talking about the advanced statistics and trying to be ahead of everyone else. So as you've covered sports, especially baseball, for around 25 years, how have you utilized the evolution of statistics, and where do you kind of draw the line with advanced statistics?
Well, there's no question that, I think you kind of pick and choose what you feel is important to you. And you can't just go by straight sabermetrics to determine the worth of a player, in my opinion. I think you're selling yourself and the human element of it short. You just are. I mean, Kevin Millar was a decent ball player metrically. He did some things very well. He always had a solid on-base percentage until the last couple of crappy years in Baltimore and Toronto. But his worth was something that you couldn't print out on a stat sheet. He could talk to everybody in the locker room, and not everybody can. And people don't understand that there are factions within a locker room, and not everybody gets along. But Kevin had the ability to walk from one side of the clubhouse to the other and speak the same language as everyone. How do you put a dollar value on that? I don't know. But I know that there's nothing that can be computed based on sabermetrics that tells me what Kevin Millar was worth back then. So, yeah, I mean, it's not fantasy baseball because it's still played by humans. You don't know how certain guys are feeling every day. It's why when these pregame plans are drawn up by the front offices and saying, okay, if in this situation, this guy is hitting, then we'll go to this pitcher and, all that sort of stuff. I respect it. But at the end of the day, the manager has to be able to look into his player's eyes and say, is he ready for it? Is he having a bad day? Did he have a bad day with his family? Is he there 100%? Because everything that's computed in baseball world factors out the human side of things. But at the end of the day, there's days where I wake up, I'm in a shitty mood. Something might be going on with my family, or maybe I'm not feeling 100%, or I didn't have a great day yesterday. So you can't expect the same performance out of me every day because there are variables in my life that'll change. So I respect the hell out of sabermetrics. I think it has helped our game significantly in helping to determine the value of some players at certain times, but not all.
You're absolutely right. Like Chris mentioned, we try to look at things through the sabermetric lens as much as we can, but the human element is there. And I feel like a lot of people, just because, you mentioned we can't put a dollar amount on what Kevin Millar is worth. And I feel like that's why a lot of people try to stay out of it. But it is very much there. And it is something that you just can't ignore.
Well, of course it's there, but you have to determine how much value you place on it, right? It should be a tool, just like your eyes should be a tool, just like your ears should be a tool, just like your heart should be a tool. It should be a part of the equation. To say it's the end all be all, in my opinion, is the wrong way to look at things. It just is.
Right. So as we talk more about advanced statistics, StatCast has come into the baseball world since 2015. And Daniel and I actually recently had a top 10 players we wish we had StatCast for, which was a pretty interesting one. So
Yeah.
I think what we're going to ask each guest, and you're the first one that we get to ask this question. Who's the number one all-time player you wish you had StatCast for?
I would say maybe a guy like a Dave Winfield. He was the first guy I can remember that size who could move that gracefully. And it looked like every ball he hit was just smoked. And he was so big. And he got in the batter's box, and it looked like he could cover, the distance between home plate and first by just swinging the bat. So I think that probably I would have liked to have seen, maybe get some numbers on Dave Winfield.
That's a great answer.
Yeah.
Like, I think the cliche answers are like Nolan Ryan, Babe Ruth, and like certainly, I mean, those would be great players too. But Dave Winfield's definitely a unique one. And
Dave
you make a lot of
Winfield
great
is
points.
he's one of the best athletes I've ever seen play this
100%.
game. I mean, it's why, we always complain about Aaron Judge and not staying healthy. There aren't guys that are 6'7" roaming the outfield. They just don't. And Dave Winfield did it great. And he played center field for a long time. And he had an amazing arm. Looked like he would throw the ball from the outfield and would just reach, and his arm would like drop the ball in the catcher's mitt. He just looked so different than anybody else. So I'll stick with that answer, and I appreciate it. I like that one too. I'm going to pat myself on the back.
Yeah,
That's a good one, Rose. Good job.
I'm happy to hear that answer. I think that's
Thank you.
It's a good one.
All right. Well, those are all the questions we have for you. Thank you so much.
That's it. We don't have any from your teachers, your family, or your friends.
This was we only notified a couple people about this because
We wanted the element of surprise in there.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
Or
So-
you were worried that I wasn't going to show up.
No.
No.
We also didn't want to put pressure on ourselves and blow the interview. So
No. I would give you guys at least a C+, maybe a B- if we're grading on a curve.
It's a passing grade.
we will take that. Yeah.
Right. No, that's good. That's
Okay.
good. Who else are we looking forward to having on the podcast?
We're contacting people, but
You're joining a list with Jeff Passan on alums here.
yeah.
Oh, Jeff Passan's been on.
He has.
Yes.
What was his StatCast answer? Or did you not
We
ask
didn't.
him that?
This was about a year ago.
Oh.
We didn't come up with that. Yeah, that was it was actually for a class of mine, but he let us go public with it. He was really cool about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Passan's a Cleveland guy. So this is
You're
what
a
we do.
Cleveland guy.
Yeah. We're just normal, down to earth. Although he's much smaller than I am. I can fit him in my pocket. He thinks he could take Ken Rosenthal down on the block and post him up, but that's about it. These great little writers, got to get them in the gym at some point. Let's go. Although I hear his kid's a really good baseball player. So, he's just
There we go.
trying to ride the coattails of his 10-year-old son.
He'll be like the LeVar Ball of baseball.
Absolutely. I could see him coming out with a sweatshirt and shoe brand just like that.
Well, thank you very much for doing this. And we look forward to seeing what you have in store with Jomboy Media for the continuous future. So thank you very much. And hope all the best.
So a great interview with Chris Rose. I may have cut off the recording a little too soon. He said he had a good time or something like that.
Just trust us. Yeah, this wasn't a hostage situation.
Yeah.
He seemed to enjoy himself.
Yeah, we didn't blackmail him or anything. But yeah, just a grand old time. I was a little nervous for it. I was kind of maybe at the beginning I was stuttering a little bit, but
Nah, I didn't notice.
I was I'm naturally like that sometimes. But yeah, it was fantastic. So now I guess we get into the world of baseball as it is currently. The Cardinals keep on winning. They just have won 16 in a row, and they're at 87 and 69. And I mentioned before the show, if you told me the Cardinals were 87 and 69, with 6 games left in the season before the year started, if you told me that they would be in this position before the year started, I'd be like, oh, they're in a very good spot. They're probably going to win the division or something. They'll probably have a 90 or 91 win season. That'll be good enough to win the NL Central. But no, actually the Brewers ended up clinching. So good for Milwaukee. But Cardinals. Where do we go from here? How much of an effect do we think the momentum will carry into one singular game against the Giants or Dodgers?
That's probably the toughest part of it because Like, let's be honest, no matter what kind of momentum they have, they're not going to be looked at as the favorites in this wild card game.
Right.
Like, I think they're going to face either one of Max Scherzer or Kevin Gausman, with probably Wainwright going, which, you do like that matchup for the Cardinals. I mean, they're certainly going to have a lot of work to do on offense, but I just don't know. Like, it's very tricky. I think the Cardinals are the type of team that would go into San Francisco or Los Angeles as facing a 100-win team and knocking them off. I definitely wouldn't. You can't count it out. Like, I think it's very much in the realm of possibility. But I mean, how much can the momentum sway them? I don't know. I mean, who have they faced? They faced the Brewers. They faced the Cubs this weekend. They faced the Padres, who are on their downward spiral. It's gonna be really tricky to figure that one out. But I mean, we're gonna have our answer next week for sure.
Yeah. Oh, I just clicked on the Brewers schedule.
Nice.
Yeah. Cardinals in the stretch. I mean, obviously, I don't think it's.
Listen, it doesn't matter who they've played if they've gone 16-0. Like 16-0 is 16-0.
Yeah, you're not gonna feel like they're not gonna arrive at Dodger Stadium / Oracle Park and be like, "Whoa, now we're in it." Because I mean, let's take a look at who they beat. They've beat Cincinnati, the Mets, San Diego, which it's still a decent roster. At Milwaukee, they swept them
at 4,
and
that was big.
That was huge.
Yeah.
And at Chicago. So I mean, like,
and they've come from behind in so many places too. Like, I swear to God, every single day it's like they're losing 4-2 or something like that. And then I'll just go on Twitter and I'll see like the MLB home run bottle tweet a Cardinal, or like someone on MLB.com or just any national site will be like, the Cardinals just don't go away.
Yeah. They'll just pop up and do those types of things. And yeah, they've just, they've made themselves a winning ball club in the span of about a month. I mean, I remember I think we talked about it at the last episode or a couple before that, like when after the trade deadline with the Cardinals, we were like, all right, well, they're just kind of just going to ride this season out. Just, probably
And
finish in
here we are.
3rd or 4th place. And yeah, now here we are. For statistics on the St. Louis streak, as they have won 16 in a row, they have an 871 OPS and a 2.98 ERA. Their average slugging and OPS rank 1st in Major League Baseball, and their ERA ranks 2nd in Major League Baseball, behind, of course, the Detroit Tigers, which was shocking to me. I had no idea that their pitching was I had no idea they turned into the Brewers over the past 16 days or what have you. And individual performances, Paul Goldschmidt, really just kind of a comeback season in its own in its own season. Hitting 383 with a 1322 OPS over this streak. Tyler O'Neill, a former How About That, 313 with a 1029 OPS during the streak. And Harrison Bader, who has been all over the players to highlight, he is hitting 400 with an 1179 OPS in this streak. So I mean, everything is clicking. You can't say it's really
like the bullpen and the starting rotation too. You mentioned the whole team being 2nd in ERA. Like that goes for the starters and the relievers. Like there's no particular like heavy strong favorite over those two where it's like one of them's carrying all the weight.
Right, exactly. It's not like it's not like a thing where but if the bullpen comes in or you gotta have that starter go through 4 innings or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's not really one or the other. It's kind of ideal. I mean, I guess there are those people that are going to say, you're getting these wins at the wrong time. And normally
this is the right time.
Yeah, but
like if this was happening a month ago, maybe there's a case for that, but this is the best time. If you're going to pick a time in the season to have a 16-game win streak, this would be it.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying is like you have your streak, and then once you get into the playoffs, that's when you stop streaking. But I don't know. It's
that's a myth.
The situation differs every time.
That's such a myth. Yeah.
So, and luckily for the Cardinals also is they're not going to be fighting for this spot as the season ends. So they're going to be able to handpick who they want pitching in that wild card game.
Yeah, they are. They already know that the Brewers clinched the division. They've already clinched NL West has already clinched home field in the wild card. They just have to clinch their playoff spot, and they know exactly what they're doing. They don't have to fight for anything. They might still be playing to keep the streak alive, but I mean, let's be honest. Like, I don't think they're going to be putting out the opening day lineup or the wild card lineup the day after clinching. Like, hard to picture that happening.
Exactly. Currently, they are 6 up on the Cardinals, and yeah, the magic numbers
On who?
On the they're 6 up on the Reds, who have, I guess, red uniforms. So I guess that's why.
Yeah.
That's obviously why I thought
Same
it.
difference.
Yeah, both the Reds and the Phillies are 1 game away from being eliminated by the Cardinals.
The Reds are winning 11-1 against the Pirates right now, so that's not going to happen today.
Yeah,
and there's only 5 games on the docket today, so there's not going to be much movement in the playoff picture other than like A's and Mariners.
Correct. So yeah, Cardinals just keep on doing it. I guess in that wild card game they'll try to have Wainwright out there.
You're going to have to.
Man, that playoff rotation is going to be very interesting.
Here comes Jay Happ for Game 3.
Yeah, I mean, you can't say you don't have playoff experience.
Yeah, that's true. Can you imagine John Lester just turning into like 2013 playoffs vintage?
Like, I'm almost rooting for that.
I wanted to hear me out. Should they have John Lester start the wild card game based on his playoff experience?
I mean, yeah. If Wainwright wasn't on that staff, who also had like good playoff experience, I would be fully advocating for John Lester.
Let's see it, yeah.
Because yeah, I mean Lester's been nails in the playoffs, but yeah, Wainwright.
Let me see, how has he been doing lately? Because I'm pretty sure his numbers have been a lot better as of late.
I know his ERA is down. I don't know about the FIP.
Well, I mean, he's probably not striking guys out, but that's all right. Yeah, his FIP is 5.29 with the Cardinals over a 4.13 ERA.
Right. But I mean, it would be hilarious if he just turned back into like 2013 John Lester.
Yes. Over his last, let's see. He has a 2.26 ERA over his last 7 starts with a 5.30 FIP. We don't need to talk about that.
We don't need to talk. Yeah.
Yeah. Who cares?
Who cares about FIP?
Yeah, not me.
But yeah, that's what's going on in the NL wild card. It's just been continuing this way for about 3 weeks, pretty much. Ever since we got to campus.
Yeah.
At Springfield College. So other things happen. There's another race that is still not cooling down whatsoever. It's the American League Wild Card race. We just had a huge series between the Red Sox and Yankees. Red Sox came into the series 2 games up on the Yankees for home field advantage in the wild card game. Yankees swept them. They are currently 1 game up on the Red Sox for that home field advantage wild card spot. Red Sox are still in the wild card game if the season ended today, but they are only a game up on the Blue Jays. So what did we think about that? Because we watched all the games.
We did.
What did we think about that Yankees performance and Red Sox performance?
Yeah, like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like you always need to ask the question of whether it's Yankees good or Red Sox bad. I feel like it was a mixture of both. Like, the Yankees got the big hits when they needed to. The Red Sox, like, if you look at all the big hits that the Yankees got and you look at the pitch locations, they're all right down the middle. Like, I think Sarah Langs had that. The Yankees hit 3 batted balls above 115 miles an hour in 1 inning, like back to back to back. All 3 of those pitches were game day zone 5.
Yeah, there's not a lot of chase. There's not a lot of balls outside the zone that are going to be hit 115 miles per hour.
Yeah, not a lot of, well, you got to tip your cap and
yeah,
like, it was just you can't throw it there, man.
Exactly.
Like, if you look at every Stanton home run this weekend, if you look at the Judge double that happened after the controversial strikeout foul tip.
Right, exactly. I think what this series was, at least the last 2 games of the series, was a big victory lap for everyone complaining about the Red Sox at the trade deadline, with the bullpen bullpen situation, and it's kind of what I worried about with the Red Sox before the season ever started. Was who's gonna come in those high leverage situations? You can't rely on Whitlock every single time.
He's on the IL.
And he's on the IL right now. So obviously you can't rely on him right now. And whoever came in for the Red Sox, it was heart rate increase no matter what, really.
I mean, the problem is, like, you talk about the trade deadline, all the guys they got have not been the problem. Like, Hansel Robles legitimately has been the best reliever in baseball in the month of September, and Austin Davis has been strong too. It's the guys that were already established pre-trade deadline that have kind of sunk a little bit. Like, Darwinzon Hernandez gave up a home run. He gave up the grand slam to Stanton, which he was hurt, but I mean he threw that one right down the middle.
Exactly.
Adam Ottavino, he gave up the one last night to Stanton. Garrett Richards, who had been good as a reliever, obviously he didn't have it in the second inning of work last night. Matt Barnes obviously spiraled in August. Like it's been the guys who were already there that have been the issue, not the guys that people were initially complaining about.
Yeah, that was the thing. Is I think I don't have the exact stats noted down, but I believe heading into the trade deadline, the Red Sox had like the 8th best bullpen ERA. So and now since the trade deadline, it's gone down. It's like it's not because they added terrible people that have made it worse. It's because the guys who were already good have decreased in performance. But yeah, I think it's just like there's. But I don't know. Out of that Red Sox, Yankees, Blue Jays trio, like the bullpen, you're going to be a little nervous with the bullpen, no matter what.
Yeah, I mean that's gonna there's not a single person that can walk out of that Red Sox bullpen right now where I'm like, oh, thank God.
Exactly.
Like that doesn't exist.
Right. And yeah, the Yankees. I mean, good on the Yankees. They did exactly what they needed to do. They went into Fenway. They got the sweep. They performed well in high leverage situations.
They went 4 for 5 with runners in scoring position last night.
Yeah, I mean
that's nuts.
The fact that you only have 5 opportunities with runners in scoring position and you come through that often. I mean that's a very good sign for the Yankees.
Yeah,
for sure.
like if you said going into that night, hey, your team is gonna have 5 plate appearances with runners in scoring position, how many hits would you like? I would have said 2.
Yeah.
They got 4.
Yeah, and won pretty comfortably.
Yeah.
I think that's all on that particular series.
I love how symmetrical, I mentioned this to you, I love how symmetrical the AL wildcard is right now. Like the Yankees are 1 up on the Red Sox are 1 up on the Blue Jays are 1 up on the Mariners are 1 up on the A's. And we'll only get to say that tonight because the A's and Mariners are playing each other tonight at 10, so that's going to change.
Right. Yeah, it is funny how just stacked everyone is. Blue Jays, meanwhile, we outlooked kind of each team's upcoming schedule. We saw Blue Jays had the Twins on the for 4 games, and we were like, oh, that's good for the Blue Jays. They split.
Yeah.
They lost the first 2 games, so I guess it's better to win the last 2 than to lose the last 2, rather than the other way around. So they split the series. Not the best thing, not the worst thing that could have happened, but now it really emphasizes how important this Yankees-Blue Jays series from Tuesday to Thursday will be.
Mm-hmm.
We have some great series ahead. We have Blue Jays, Yankees, and then we also have Phillies, Braves.
Phillies Braves is another good one. I think we can use that to transition into the NL West or the NL East race because I think the Braves could wrap up the division here. They're up 2.5 games. They have a 3-game series. Their magic number is 5. If they win 2 of those 3, like you might as well just lock it in. They're going to win the division. They'd be up 3.5 going into the final weekend.
Yeah, I feel like mathematically they would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might be.
I just know their magic number is currently 5. So if they win 2, it would go down to 1.
Okay. Yeah. The Phillies must have like a 4-game series ahead or something.
Maybe. They play the Marlins for 4, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird that there's still like a half game in the standings right now.
Yeah, because they lead by 2.5.
Yeah, this is do or
no, wait.
This is do or die for Philadelphia, and they've got and I think you mentioned before the show the pitching matchups that are going to happen, and I mean, I think for each matchup, each team has who they want out there.
They do.
Do you want to go over? I know it coincides with like our preview of the week ahead, but I mean, it's very.
We'll just say it and we'll say it later, whatever.
Yeah.
On Tuesday in the series opener, you have Zach Wheeler going against Charlie Morton, and then on Wednesday you have Aaron Nola versus Max Fried, and then on Thursday to finish it off at 7:20 you have Kyle Gibson versus Ian Anderson. So I'm very confused. I'm trying to figure out how this is all working here because neither of them do the Braves have a doubleheader or something like over the weekend? Because I'm trying to find why there's a half game separation there.
Is there another, or maybe there's just a game that they never made up, and they might have if there's a tie.
They might have to figure it out, but why wouldn't they have done it today? I mean, maybe it's because of one of those teams. I don't know.
Right, because I remember in 2016 when the Red Sox were figuring out their seeding for the playoffs. They were 93 and 69. The Indians were 94 and 67, so they'd only played 161 games. So the final game by the Red Sox determined whether the Indians had to play that final game, and it didn't end up happening. So it might be a situation where one of those teams ends up only playing 161 games this year.
Yeah.
Which is always fun. That's always just confusing.
It's great for OCD.
Yeah.
The Braves are 83 and 72. The Phillies have 81 and 75. They both have 6 games remaining, so that would mean, let's see.
Let's test the old addition.
That would mean the Braves have another game, I think. Yeah, the Braves have another game. So there must have been a Braves Mets or Braves Philly. No, it has to be Braves Mets because that's what's happening this weekend.
Right, because also, yeah, the Mets had that weird COVID thing at the beginning of the year.
And you know what? Yeah, that's what it is, I think.
Let's take a look at what does Baseball Reference have for us on schedule/results.
Well, I looked at MLB.com. There's not an extra game scheduled, which is odd.
I see 3 versus Phillies, 3 versus Mets.
But they've played a different amount of games.
So yeah,
and it can't be a Phillies Braves makeup because the Phillies because they've played a different amount of games and they have the same amount of games remaining, and the Mets.
So the story of the NL East is the Braves might not get to play a full season. How 2021 is that?
Boo.
They're only going to play 161 if in fact it is not a half game separation at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So
it would be very funny to see imagine it's the Braves are up 1.5 or the Braves are up half a game going to the last game, and it's they play a game against the Mets who are just completely out of it. It's you guys could force a tiebreaker game.
Yeah, the Phillies
or you could just say, who cares? This game means nothing.
The Phillies just have to be hey, we'll buy you dinner.
Yeah.
If you
Braves have to play for their life against the team that has absolutely zero incentive.
Yeah, the only incentive for the organization would be to lose for a draft pick.
It'd be very funny to see it'd be in Game 162 in 2011 where it's the Rays blatantly let the Yankees come or the Yankees blatantly let the Rays come back.
Right.
So that the Red Sox could be out.
Yeah.
It's a team intentionally losing against a team that desperately needs to win.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so we figured it out. We figured out the situation there. All right, I mean NL West. What's the NL West separation? Is it still 2 games?
It's 2. Yeah. The Giants get the Padres, and then who do they finish with?
Is it Colorado, Arizona?
It's got to be one of those 2. Oh no, they finish. Excuse me. The Giants finish with San Diego. This week they have Arizona.
Okay.
So
I remember in the last episode we said Giants have a decent path. So
yeah,
it would be pretty surprising if they lost out.
Especially, I mean, we should probably talk about the Padres while we're here. I mean, this is what a disappointment. This was the team of the future. This was the team that was gonna challenge the big bad Dodgers, and that just never happened.
Right, exactly. I mean, we went into it a little bit last episode.
Yeah. But now they're officially eliminated.
They are out.
Now they are mathematically
there's
there's a
no hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, mathematically eliminated.
Yeah.
Who would have thunk? I mean, yeah, we talked about it a little bit, but I mean,
We did talk about
it's
it.
mostly on like it's not really a management thing that I can think of, unless Jace Tingler really just took a bad turn. But obviously, we're not in the clubhouse, so
Yeah, no.
it's hard to determine that.
It's very interesting to see where they're going to go from here. And I mentioned on the last show, like, the Padres are going to have a bad public perception no matter what they do this offseason. So,
Exactly.
try to tune that out and just think for yourself, I guess.
Right.
But, I mean, the public perception of the Padres is not going to be good this season. I don't care what they do. They could sign Max Scherzer and Robbie Ray and Carlos Rodon and all the shortstops. People are going to be like, well, third place finish. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be tough for sure. And yeah, I mean, I have no idea. I have no idea what the Padres are gonna do. I mean, you hope. I mean, my questions for the Padres this offseason are what's happening with Dinelson Lamet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
And he just couldn't stay on the field. Like, I still think that he has the same amount of talent. He just wasn't able to stay out there.
yeah, it's truly a shame because
Mm-hmm.
the Padres team could have been a little different with Lamet out there. We were both advocating for his all MLB team
Inclusion.
inclusion last season, and he very well deserved to be in that conversation. And now, he just had injury issues, and I hope we hope as baseball fans that gets resolved because he's one of the better guys to do it in baseball currently. And then yeah, I guess from a Padres perspective, you just hope for bounce back years from Snell and Darvish. I mean, Darvish isn't getting any younger, I guess. And then, yeah, it's weird for sure. Do we want to get into players to highlight?
Yeah, let's do it.
So now we get into our Monday, September 27th, 2021. Special edition. Not really special, but I included that as I'm trying to get the drop. Edition of... So who do you got for us today?
So today on How About That, one of my last, we only have, I think, like 2 or 3 left at this point. Are we gonna do one the day?
Two left after this.
Okay, 2 left after this. Cool. I'm going with someone who isn't necessarily as off the map as most of my How About That's. This is someone who, we've talked about on this show before. He was one of my players to watch earlier, and he's someone that I've just advocated for. Sandy Alcantara.
Yeah.
Who has been performing extremely well. He has a 2.19 ERA over his last 7 starts, and over this time he has 60 strikeouts and 5 walks over 49 and a third innings pitched. At the same time, he has a 54.9% ground ball rate, which ranks 6th in the majors, which means his 2.48 SI ERA ranks second only to Max Scherzer in that time. If you don't know what SI ERA is, it's FIP with a ground ball component. And when you have 60 strikeouts, 5 walks, and a 54% ground ball rate, SI ERA is going to be your friend, as it is with Sandy here. He is the only pitcher in the majors to throw at least 150 pitches that hit above 98 miles per hour over this time, and he is 205. So no one else has more than 150. He is 205.
Wow.
98 mile an hour pitches over these 7 starts. And also, on said pitches, he has a negative 3-degree launch angle. So, I mean, the harder he throws, the more people punch it into the ground, which is awesome. He is the first pitcher in 2021 and the first pitcher in Marlins history with 60-plus strikeouts and 5 or fewer walks in any 7-game span, minimum 48 innings pitched. And he is the 16th player in the history of baseball to do that, including names like Sandy Koufax, Fergie Jenkins, Pedro Martinez, Cliff Lee, Johan Santana, Clayton Kershaw, Chris Sale, Corey Kluber, Walker Buehler, and Justin Verlander, just to name a few who have also done it.
So you said first Marlin to have 60-plus strikeouts and 5 or fewer walks in a 7-start span?
Minimum 48 innings pitched.
That's great. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Shout out to Fergie Jenkins, by the way.
Yes, absolutely.
Obligatory Fergie Jenkins shout out. Sandy Alcantara. By the way, I think for when we do How About That's for
next week it should only be for playoff people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we did that last year as well.
It would be tough if we had like a Cleveland player.
Yeah, for slightly alarming, especially. It'd be even weirder for slightly alarming.
Yeah. He's going into this offseason with a bad taste in his mouth.
Yeah, no, we can't do that.
How about that is also a right-handed pitcher.
Hey.
It is Frankie Montas. Not really like in the last month, more of a long-term thing. In his last 15 starts, he has a 2.31 ERA and a 2.87 FIP. Out of 45 qualifying pitchers in this span, his strikeouts per nine ranks 10th, his FIP ranks 6th, and his ERA ranks 5th. That's as of yesterday. I forgot to update that, so that's probably the same case. And this is the first 15-game span by an A's pitcher in the live ball era with 90-plus innings pitched, a strikeout rate of 28% or higher, and an ERA below 2.4. And the only other A's pitchers to ever do it, as I mentioned, live ball era, were Rube Waddell and Charles Chief Bender.
Nice.
Frankie Montas.
When you're throwing out Waddell and Bender, you know it's a good stat.
He is an elite company.
Not even Lefty did it?
Not even Lefty. I think Lefty was a little less strikeout heavy, I guess. I don't know.
That's probably true. But, I mean, Rube Waddell and Chief Bender, like those are some good names to be in company with.
When we were doing the history series and doing players, particularly pitchers, Rube Waddell got in the way of a lot of those
He did.
statistics. Like he was an absolute strikeout machine for a guy who pitched in like the early 1900s. So Frankie Montas joining the likes of Waddell and Bender. So now we go from the highs to the lows, where we're talking players or subjects that have been underperforming for our Monday, September 27th edition of who do you got for us today?
So I have a bit of a content warning behind this one. We have a small sample size on our hands.
Oh, we got a small sample size over here.
We got a triple S on our hands.
We got a small sample size.
Call some backup. I'm staying in the state of Florida, and I'm talking about Nick Anderson because he came off the IL a couple weeks ago, and he's not been Nick Anderson. He only has 6 innings pitched because he's only had 6 appearances since in the last couple of weeks. He has 2 walks and only 1 strikeout. And if you know Nick Anderson, you know he's a strikeout pitcher. He has a 4.50 ERA in this span. Chris, would you like to go ahead and guess his expected ERA?
1 strikeout and 2 walks. So I'm going to say 7.12.
You're close. It's actually a 16.66.
No way.
Yeah. His spin rate has dropped 130 RPM from last year, and I think a lot of people are going to be quick to judge and assume it's sticky stuff. I'm no doctor, but I'm going to take a guess and say Nick Anderson is probably not 100%. I think he's still pitching with an injury, and I get he's trying to help his team in times like this, but I don't know. I really feel like he might not make the playoff roster with what he's got going right now. His barrel rate against this year is 23.8%. And that's
28.3.
Or I'm sorry, 23.8%.
23 points.
Still.
That's still triple.
Hence
more
why
than triple average.
Hence why his expected ERA is 16.66. Since he came off the IL, his 382 expected batting average against, his 888 expected slugging percentage against, and his 532 expected WOBA against all lead the 474 pitchers who have thrown at least 100 pitches. He's given up 9 batted balls with an expected batting average above 450. Only 4 of them have been hits.
Yeah.
So he's getting extremely, extremely lucky, along with not being the strikeout pitcher that he is. He's given up 5 barrels, and only 2 of them have been hits. Like I said, my gut tells me that the elbow is still bothering him. So this is not anything personal. It's not like he is worse. I think he's just trying to pitch with an injury, and it's showing.
Yeah. Came back maybe a little too soon. Nick Anderson.
Slightly alarming.
That reminds me, I wonder what the Rays are going to do playoff roster-wise. Kittredge is on the IL currently. Fairbanks is good. Colin McHugh is fine.
He's more than fine.
Yeah.
He's got like a 1.3 ERA or something like that.
Yeah, but in terms of health.
Yeah.
Strejwa. Yeah, I wonder what that stable is going to look like this year as we head into the playoffs.
Because like it's very weird to exclude Nick Anderson just by the fact that he's Nick Anderson, but I don't know. Like this seems very concerning going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was all MLB team last year.
Yeah,
For reference,
and deserving too.
if you don't know who Nick Anderson is. All right, so my slightly alarming is someone who we're talking about in awards. It's Adolis Garcia, who in his last 11 games is hitting 182 with a 419 OPS. In this span, he has 18 strikeouts, 1 walk, and no home runs. Out of 183 qualifiers in this 11-game span, Garcia's on-base percentage ranks 179th, his slugging percentage ranks 173rd, and his OPS ranks 177th. And also what should be noted is, like, when award season comes around, it'll be like, he's a rookie with 30 home runs. Out of 1,450 30 home run seasons in baseball history, Garcia's OPS thus far ranks 12th lowest of all the 30 home run seasons. So, I mean, it'll be interesting. If it was most valuable rookie, he's probably more in the conversation.
I think my AL Rookie of the Year is Class A.
Yeah, Class A might be the guy. I
Yeah.
think he's going to win it the same way. Or I think
Devin Williams won
he's
it.
more deserving based on, like, he's been the most spectacular as a rookie, and I think that's what Rookie of the Year is all about.
He has some how about that's of his own. Which you've already covered him, but like
Yeah.
there's some really intriguing stuff about him.
So, Adolis Garcia.
Slightly alarming.
But yeah, Rookie of the Year, pretty interesting, and yeah, Class A looks like a viable candidate.
For sure.
And shout out to Luis Garcia, who's been doing pretty much the exact same thing.
It's very weird. Like he's just been almost too consistent.
Yeah,
Like it's
his ERA is always between like 3.2 and 3.4.
yeah.
It's just been that way.
It's like he'll just go out there, he'll pitch like 6 in the third and give up like 2 runs.
Yeah,
Like he's just very quietly having a really good season
yeah.
with like somewhat normal looking strikeout numbers, like nothing too crazy, like maybe 7 to 8 strikeouts per 9.
Yeah, like I don't even know like how to describe it. He's got 150 innings, 3.23 ERA, 3.51 FIP, 9.6 strikeouts per 9.
Oh, that's much better than I thought.
I mean, he's good. he's not spectacular, but he's very good. And Astros should be very happy to have him in the playoff rotation.
Yeah, like I was thinking about it last night. Who are the Astros gonna throw out there against likely the White Sox? Like it's McCullers, who's had walk issues lately. It's Garcia. It's
Yeah. So
Framber Valdez, Greinke.
who are these Rookie of the Year finalists going to be? Like,
I think it's gonna be Garcia, and Clase.
yeah, I agree.
Like Wander could have gotten it if he didn't get hurt, but that happened unfortunately.
It'll be interesting how that goes because voting is happening soon.
Yes.
Obviously, they announce it in mid-November, but voting will be happening soon. All right, so that does it for players to highlight, and now we will get into preview of the week ahead. I mean, it's pretty simple what you got to look at. We preface both of these series. Daniel will go into the day-by-day matchups, but series-wise, Yankees, Blue Jays, and Rays, Phillies. It's obvious why you need to watch them. What do you got for day-by-day matchups?
Yeah. For not a lot on the docket today, but at 8:40 you have Herman Marquez pitching for the Rockies at home against the Nationals. Marquez, one of the best reverse split seasons in Rockies starting pitcher history. Probably the best one ever, if you ask me.
Right, yeah.
I went over that with you. He's absurdly better at home than he is on the road, which is not common. And then tonight at 10, you have one of our favorites, the don't throw it above 91 miles per hour matchup of Cole Irvin versus Chris Flexen in A's Mariners. It's going to be in Seattle. It's going to be a late one.
Some corner painters.
Yeah, we do. On Tuesday, you have Jamison Taillon versus Hyunjin Ryu going in Yankees versus Blue Jays. You have Brandon Woodruff versus Adam Wainwright in Brewers Cardinals. Normally that'd be the matchup of the night, but there's absolutely nothing of substance in that matchup because both teams pretty much know exactly where they stand.
Yeah.
Like the Brewers have already clinched the 2 seed. The Cardinals have basically already clinched the 5 seed.
Yeah, exactly.
You have Ronaldo Lopez going for the White Sox against the Reds. He's been really under the radar this year. Aaron Savali going for the Indians against the Royals. You have our guy Jose Urquidy, another possible playoff matchup, playoff rotation guy for the Astros going. Oh, Rays Astros is happening this week. Nobody cares because
It doesn't even affect seeding. Really.
I mean, the Rays are 6 games up. They can basically clinch the 1 seed with like a win in this series. The Astros have a magic number of 2. They can win the division tonight on Tuesday with a win and a Mariner loss.
Yeah.
So look for that. You also have Logan Webb going for the Giants against the Diamondbacks. You have a matchup that I wish mattered: Yu Darvish versus Walker Buehler in Padres and Dodgers.
Yeah.
You have Chris Bassett and Yusei Kikuchi facing each other in A's Mariners. Matchup of the night comes from Phillies Braves, like I mentioned earlier. Zach Wheeler versus Charlie Morton. You also have Chris Sale going for the Red Sox against the Orioles. I should have prefaced. On Wednesday, you have that's a good matchup. I'll save that one for later. You have Aaron Nola and Max Fried, like I mentioned, for the Phillies and Braves. You have Casey Mize and Michael Pineda going against each other for the Tigers and Twins. You have Adrian Hauser and Miles Michaelis facing each other in Brewers and Cardinals. You have Sonny Gray and Carlos Rodon going against each other for White Sox and Reds. You have Zach Plesac going for the Indians against the Royals. Luis Garcia, like we mentioned earlier, going for the Astros against the Rays. You have Alex Wood going for the Giants against the Diamondbacks. Scherzer going for the Dodgers against his former future team and the Padres. And you have Chris's How About That, Frankie Montas going against Logan Gilbert. The matchup of the night comes from Yankees Blue Jays. You have Garrett Cole versus Jose Barrios.
Oh, wow.
That's a good one. That is a good one.
In the heat of the wild card race.
We could see that matchup twice in a week.
That's true. Oh my God, that is true. Wow.
They'd probably throw Ray, but I feel like he'd.
Also, the thing with the wild card races is like, what's the timing of the?
Yeah, like Chris Sale is projected to start on Tuesday. He would also be projected to start on Sunday.
Yeah, and it's
like if the Red Sox haven't clinched by then, they're gonna have to do something.
There,
yeah, like you got to do it, and then you don't have him for the wild card game. Right. On Thursday, you have Alex Cobb going for the Angels against the Rangers. You have Corey Kluber and Robbie Ray facing each other in Yankees and Blue Jays. You have Lance McCullers Jr. facing the Rays for Houston. You have Kyle Gibson and Ian Anderson facing each other in Phillies Braves. You also have Madison Bumgarner pitching in SF. You have Shane Bieber going for the Indians against the Royals. Tony Gonsolin going against the Dodgers, going for the Dodgers against the Padres. What is matchup of the night? I guess it'd be whatever it is for Brewers Cardinals.
Right.
Most likely, just based on recent trends.
Yeah, exactly. It is funny. There are some series that would be significant earlier in the year, but there's just places have already Rays Astros a few weeks back. That would be a great series to watch. But it's they know what they're doing. They know where they're going. Same thing with Padres Dodgers and Cardinals Brewers. Yeah, it would be a great.
I wish those series mattered, but they really don't.
It'd be a great week of baseball.
I mean, the Cardinals series matters in that they have a win streak alive right now.
Right.
But they're going to clinch. The Brewers just clinched. The Brewers are going to probably put their clinch lineup out. Yeah. On Tuesday, which I don't know. Would they? Because they clinched on Sunday, have an off day Monday, and then they come in Tuesday night after clinching on Sunday afternoon.
It just depends how many reps they want to get their guys in.
I mean, I guess they probably would anyway, just because the Brewers are playing for absolutely nothing. They know where they're going. They've already clinched. Yeah. They're going to be hosting the NL East champion.
Yep.
There's nothing to debate.
Yeah, they'll probably throw out their starters for 4 or 5 innings.
Yeah.
And that's
you know what I was thinking recently? You mentioned to me in 5 years there's just going to be no qualifying pitchers, starting pitchers. How realistic do you think it is that one day they just lower the qualifier?
It's interesting. I've thought about this with quality starts too. Mm-hmm. Is 6 innings, 300 runs or less. I mean, that's kind of an ancient way to look at a quality start nowadays. I would probably lower it to 5 innings, 2 earned runs or less.
I mean, Chris Rose said, he won't take, that's the way we've always done it for an answer. And, it's clearly changing right in front of us. Yeah. So, why should we look at it that way still?
Yeah, I mean, it might have to be 0.75 or 0.8 innings per team.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
Freddie Peralta, I was looking at him earlier. He has 140 innings pitched this year. Like he's not qualifying.
Yep.
Like
Luis Garcia, 150 innings. He's probably not going to end up qualifying.
how can you take a serious look at the pitcher leaderboards when they don't have guys like that?
Right. Exactly. Especially like with ERA and such, and that's why sometimes I consider the non-qualified guys, because it's like,
Yeah.
you know,
Like what if we made it like 130 innings pitched?
right. Well, I mean, as
And
the season goes,
assuming there's a 162 game season.
yeah, as the season progresses, you still have to have like your set, because when you're 115 games through the season,
Yeah.
it's 115, so you'd have to have like a point whatever innings per team game played. But that's that's nerd stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We're all about what's just seeing stuff on the field, obviously. So we hope you enjoyed this one, and we hope you enjoyed the Chris Rose interview, because I mean that was fantastic. We certainly enjoyed it.
We did.
And if you want to follow me on social media, follow me on Twitter at Chris_Gianta. Follow Daniel on both Twitter and Instagram at Daniel_current. And follow the show Instagram at Above Replacement Radio for all the show needs. And we hope you enjoyed this one, and we hope to see you on Thursday, where we're talking all the things in Major League Baseball once again. See you then.
This conversation is over.